We are about to change things up. And I am going to be unapologetically me. Now, this channel used to be called Carl Travels. And from now on, I'll be going under my name and who I am, Carl Tomich. This is a bit of a personal branding thing. This is a bit of a lesson to you. This is a little bit of an introduction to myself and a little bit of a change for the future. So if you've been watching this before, I started this channel as a travel channel. Well, initially. I have a love for travel and moved to Berlin. Now, before we get into these stories, I realized afterwards, travel doesn't always go on forever. And at the moment I am traveling and actually will be continuing to travel for a long while. Sometimes I like to share my opinions with you, and I create other videos about what I'm thinking. I create other videos about topics that are interesting to me. Sometimes I try to create movies or cinematic masterpieces. And sometimes I'm just making travel vlogs, walking down the street going, I'm in Vietnam or whatever. And I think you want to hear about it all. You want to hear about me. This is about personal branding. So if you have thought about starting a YouTube channel, think about when you start it, what you're going to call it. You might be stuck with that for a while. And yes, you can rebrand. And I thought this is the perfect time to rebrand. A few other things I want to address. Today, I've decided to be unapologetically me. Sometimes I would wear long sleeve t-shirts. I would cover up certain tattoos I'm wearing, especially this one here. A lot of people go, what's with the cross tattoo? Or what's with the piercings? I actually took out a lot of my piercings. I take out this one occasionally because I'm doing boxing and Muay Thai and other things like that. And, if you get punched in the face, well, piercings don't go down too well. Also, honestly, I'm getting older, and when I got them, they were cool. I played in rock bands for years and punk bands, and no, I was never an emo. Some people are like, you look like an emo. I'm not emo. I don't like emo music. I'm a rock and roller, like Led Zeppelin and the Strokes and the Beatles. I mean, I know they make pop, but what about Helter Skelter? Anyway, this tattoo, let's talk about it, because people ask it about all the time. So I'll just get that out of the way. This is actually St. Peter's cross. It means humility. No, I'm not a Satanist. It's from the island of Korčula, where my grandfather's from. It is an ode to the background of my heritage, but I knew that in doing that, probably a lot of places would employ me, and whether that's a good idea or a bad idea, it was more like a fuck the system kind of thing. When I got most of these tattoos, I was living in Berlin. And when I first moved to Berlin, I didn't have any. And it was a way to me to express myself. People had different opinions on them, but you know what? Some I regret, some I don't, but I can't change them now. I mean, I could get them removed. I don't have $100,000 and want to go through that pain. And I just want to be myself. So now that we've got that out of the way, let's move on to other things. So yes, this channel will be called my name. I am Carl Tomich. I am a filmmaker, and I've decided to film this video in anamorphic widescreen. This is what actual cinema movies would be filmed in, what aspect ratio, with an actual cinema lens on a cinema camera. Sometimes I film with my phone, sometimes I film with a little pocket, sometimes I use this big thing that's sitting in front of me. And for years I've been doing film, and obviously when you're behind the camera and in front of the camera, it's hard to do similar kind of content. So sometimes I go out there and I take my tripod and I make all this beautifully scenic shots. For a long time, I was making music videos for a living. I started filming bands initially, then was doing some festivals, did weddings, then I ended up doing commercials. I've also made 3 feature films. I've worked on some other people's films. I'm not a YouTuber. Yeah, I put my content on YouTube, and yes, I am making YouTube videos, and yes, I also am a YouTuber, but at heart I am a filmmaker, and if you've seen some of my content, you'll realize that. I also set up lights, I set up things, I do sound. I used to be a musician. I still am a musician. Slowly, the art is dying, but also there's been no funding for music for a while. Governments don't fund music. People don't pay for music. Internet streaming kind of killed that. The death of the CD made it really hard for musicians to try and make it. And also then, now there's been a influx of anyone can become a musician with just a laptop, a microphone, some beat they've stolen. Now you can just use Suno AI to create music. Sadly, it's becoming or will become a lost art. I still love music and I will still continue to play music. And I hope one day when I have the ability to afford to be able to be a musician again, because it's almost become like a luxury. It's a hard industry to crack. Yeah, then moved to Germany, had a pretty successful music career there. The point I'm getting at is I do all sorts of things. I'm a web designer, a graphic designer, I do marketing, and I create content. I would like to do more cinematic content, but I also would like to do more opinion pieces. I don't want to pretend to be someone I'm not. Now it's time to just be unapologetically me. So hello, now tell me, have you done a channel rebrand before? And also, if you want to know anything about filmmaking, tech gear, life, or other things, I actually have multiple YouTube channels. This isn't my first. I have one that's pure tech, and probably once I change my name, that one's called Carl Tomich Tech. Well, you're probably going to end up seeing videos about drones and things. Honestly, this channel these days I put the most effort into, but I do have multiple channels. I have started another channel which is on giving advice to people that want to start their own YouTube channels and maybe find some sort of financial freedom. Now, disclaimer, I will never sell you a course. I don't want to be that person. I actually don't really care so much about money or profit. I have undercharged and undersold myself my whole life because I believe in fairness. I think the reason why a lot of people end up rich, and take this how you will, this is just my opinion, is because to get rich, someone else has to get poor. You know, if you're selling something for a 70 or 80%, 90% profit margin, well, in a way, you're kind of just taking advantage of people and you're part of the problem. You could look at that as saying, I'm a good businessman, but does that make you a good person? I'd rather be a good person. Yeah, on my new channel, I've just got over 200 subscribers. I just started it. The content there is good advice. It's not super polished yet. That's called Grow Your Niche. I'll put a link to these channels below. Feel free to listen to advice. It's all for free. I will in the future do consulting, and I'm never going to charge more than $30 an hour to give advice, because I think that's fair. And I'm never going to say, oh, you need to sign up to like 10 lessons. I just want to be unapologetically me. Hey, so welcome. And for all of you out there that have followed, have watched, have commented, and I've definitely seen a few names come up in time again. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you. I am Carl Tomich, and thank you for watching.